Let me ask you something. When was the last time you thought about your age without looking at your birthday? Most people judge aging by the number on their driver's license. But after treating older adults for decades, I can tell you something that might completely change the way you think about getting older. I've met 6 5-year-olds who struggled to walk across a parking lot without feeling exhausted. And I've also met energetic 80-year-olds who traveled height, played with their grandkids, and had more energy than people half their age. So what makes the difference? Is it good genes? Is it luck? Not even close. According to modern medical research, the biggest difference comes down to a handful of physical and mental abilities that tell us far more about how well you're aging than the number of candles on your birthday cake ever could. And here's the exciting part. Most of these abilities can actually be improved, even if you're already in your 60 seconds, 70 seconds, or beyond. A massive long-term study followed more than 43,000 adults over the age of 65 for over a decade. Researchers discovered something remarkable. The people who maintained several key physical and cognitive abilities stay independent much longer. They were far less likely to develop dementia, far less likely to end up in long-term care, and on average, they enjoyed many more years of active, independent living compared to those who lost these abilities. Think about what that really means. More mornings making your own coffee, more road trips, more time watching your grandchildren grow up, more freedom to live life on your own terms. That's what healthy aging is really about. Not simply adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. I need you to stick with me until the very end because one of the abilities we'll talk about today surprises almost everyone. In fact, many healthcare providers rarely discuss it, even though it may be one of the strongest predictors of keeping your brain healthy well into your 80 seconds. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Before we jump in, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me down in the comments, how old are you today, and what's one activity you still enjoy that makes you feel alive? Maybe it's gardening, maybe fishing, walking every morning, playing with your grandkids, or maybe dancing with your spouse. I read your comments because your stories inspire thousands of people who watch this channel. And if today's video helps you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Every week I share science-backed health advice designed specifically to help adults over 60 stay active, independent, and feeling their absolute best. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. Most folks assume getting older automatically means getting weaker. But that's not what decades of medical research actually show. I've cared for people in their late 70 seconds who still travel, work in the yard, chase after their grandkids, and enjoy life with plenty of energy. And I've also met people in their early 60 seconds who struggle just getting up from a chair. So what's the difference? It's usually not luck. And it's not just genetics either. More often than not, it comes down to a handful of physical and mental abilities that determine how well your body is aging. The good news? Most of these abilities can improve, no matter your age. Your body is constantly adapting. It just needs the right kind of challenge. So let's begin with number 8. Can you get up off the floor without using your hands? I know, that probably sounds way too simple to matter, but don't let this little test fool you. Researchers followed more than 2,000 adults over several years and discovered something remarkable. People who needed both hands or even their knees to get up from the floor were far more likely to experience serious health problems later in life than those who could stand with little or no assistance. That's a pretty powerful signal from one simple movement. Why does it matter so much? Because getting up from the floor isn't only about leg strength. It also measures your balance, your core stability, your hip mobility, your flexibility, and how well your brain communicates with your muscles. Think of it as a full body systems check. As we get older, we naturally lose muscle power, especially the fast twitch muscle fibers that help us react quickly if we trip or lose our balance. Those muscles are your body's emergency brakes. When they weaken, the risk of falling goes up dramatically, and falls remain one of the leading causes of serious injuries among older adults in America. That's why I encourage my patients to pay attention to this simple movement before it becomes a problem. I remember one patient, let's call her Margaret. She was 74 and had stopped getting down on the floor completely because she was afraid she wouldn't be able to stand back up. After 2 falls in 1 year, her confidence was gone. So instead of focusing on complicated workouts, we started with the basics. A little floor practice, daily walks, simple resistance exercises, nothing fancy, just consistent effort. About 8 months later, Margaret stood up from the floor without grabbing a chair. She looked at me, smiled, and said, "I finally feel like myself again." That moment wasn't just about stronger muscles. It was about getting her confidence back. and confidence gives people their independence. If getting off the floor feels difficult today, don't get discouraged. Everyone starts somewhere. Use a sturdy chair if you need support. Practice safely. Little by little, your strength can improve. Add regular walking, a few resistance exercises each week, and talk with your healthcare provider about whether you're getting enough vitamin D and protein to support healthy muscles. Remember, the goal isn't to become a bodybuilder. The goal is to keep doing the things you love without depending on someone else. And that's exactly what healthy aging is all about. Now let's move on to number 7. This next ability might look like a simple balance test, but the science behind it is honestly incredible. Now, let's talk about number 7. Can you stand on one leg for at least 10 seconds? It sounds almost too easy, but trust me, this tiny test reveals far more about your health than most people realize. A major study found that adults who couldn't balance on one leg for just 10 seconds had a significantly higher risk of serious health problems over the following years. That's because balance isn't just about your feet. It's a conversation happening between your brain, your eyes, your inner ear, your muscles, and your joints. Every one of those systems has to work together perfectly. As we age, that communication naturally starts slowing down. But here's the encouraging part. Balance is one of the easiest abilities to improve. Your brain keeps building new pathways every time you challenge it. Think of it like updating the software inside your body. The more you practice, the better those connections become. One of my patients, Robert, was 71 years old. He told me he stopped climbing ladders because he didn't trust his balance anymore. Even standing on a curb made him nervous. So instead of giving him an expensive exercise program, I asked him to do something incredibly simple. Every morning while brushing his teeth, stand on one foot. Hold the bathroom counter if needed. Switch legs after 20–30 seconds. That was it. 3 months later, Robert walked into my office smiling. He told me he felt steadier than he had in years. He wasn't grabbing walls anymore. He wasn't afraid of stairs anymore. And his daily walks actually became enjoyable again. That's the power of consistency. Small habits, repeated every day, can completely change how your body performs. If balancing on one foot feels impossible today, don't worry. Start by holding onto a sturdy chair. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground. Hold for 5 seconds. Then gradually work your way up. Progress matters far more than perfection. If you can comfortably reach 10 seconds, challenge yourself a little more. Try turning your head slowly from side to side, or practice on a softer surface once it's safe. Every new challenge teaches your brain to react faster, and faster reactions often mean fewer falls. Pair your balance training with regular walking, light strength exercises, and foods rich in magnesium, like almonds, pumpkin seeds, spinach, and beans. Healthy nerves and healthy muscles work together. You can't have one without the other. Remember, growing older doesn't mean accepting poor balance. It simply means your body needs a little more practice than it used to, and that's completely normal. Now, let's move on to number 6. This next ability has one of the strongest connections to living a longer, healthier, and more independent life. Now, let's move on to number 6. Here's a question for you. Could you comfortably walk about a quarter mile, roughly for city blocks, without stopping to catch your breath? It might not sound like a big deal, but according to researchers, this simple ability is one of the strongest indicators of healthy aging. In fact, studies have found that older adults who can walk this distance at a steady pace tend to stay independent much longer than those who can't. Why? Because walking isn't just about your legs. Every step depends on your heart, your lungs, your muscles, your joints, and even your brain working together as one team. When all those systems stay strong, everyday life becomes easier. As we get older, though, our bodies naturally lose some aerobic capacity. That simply means it's harder to deliver oxygen to our muscles. At the same time, the tiny energy factories inside your cells called mitochondria begin slowing down. That's one reason many people start feeling tired after activities that once felt effortless. But here's the amazing part. Your body can build those energy factories back up. Every time you go for a walk, you're telling your muscles, we still need this energy, and your body responds. It literally creates more healthy mitochondria to meet the demand. That's one of the reasons walking remains one of the most powerful forms of medicine we know. I remember one of my patients, James. He was 76. After retiring, he became less active without even realizing it. At first, he skipped his evening walks. Then he started driving everywhere. Eventually, walking through the grocery store left him exhausted. Instead of chasing complicated fitness plans, we started with a simple goal. Walk to the end of the block and back every single day. No pressure, no stopwatch, just consistency. After several weeks, 1 block became 2, then 3. A few months later, James was comfortably walking nearly a mile every morning with his wife. His energy improved. His blood pressure improved. He even told me he was sleeping better than he had in years. That's the beauty of walking. It doesn't ask for perfection. It simply rewards consistency. If walking a quarter mile feels difficult today, that's okay. Start with 5 minutes. Then next week, try 6. Small improvements add up faster than you think. Whenever possible, walk outside instead of only on a treadmill. Uneven sidewalks, fresh air, natural sunlight, even paying attention to your surroundings. All of that gives your brain an extra workout too. It's not just exercise, it's brain training. And don't forget to swing your arms naturally while you walk. That simple movement improves balance, posture, and helps your entire body move more efficiently. Remember, the goal isn't walking faster than everyone else. The goal is making sure your body can still carry you wherever life takes you. Because independence isn't measured by your birthday, it's measured by what you're still able to do. Now, let's move on to number 5. This next ability has less to do with muscles and everything to do with how well your brain and body work together. Now let's move on to number 5. This one surprises almost everyone. Let me ask you something. Can you carry on a conversation while you're walking? Can you cook dinner while chatting with your spouse? Can you water the garden while listening to a podcast and actually remember what was said? If the answer is yes, that's a very good sign, because your brain is doing something incredibly complex. Doctors call this dual tasking. It's the ability to think and move at the same time. And believe it or not, it's one of the earliest indicators of healthy brain aging. Here's why. Walking may feel automatic, but your brain is constantly making tiny adjustments. It's controlling your balance, planning every step, watching for obstacles, and coordinating your muscles. Now add a conversation on top of that. Suddenly your brain has to manage memory, language, attention, decision-making, and movement, all at the same time. That's a serious workout. Researchers have found that when older adults suddenly stop walking just to answer a simple question, or they lose their train of thought while moving, it can sometimes be an early sign that the brain's communication networks are slowing down. Think of your brain like a busy city. Different areas handle different jobs. One area controls movement, another manages speech, another stores memories. Healthy brains keep traffic flowing smoothly between all those neighborhoods. But as those connections weaken, traffic starts backing up. Simple tasks begin feeling harder than they used to. The good news? Just like muscles, your brain responds to training. I remember one patient named Linda. She was 73 years old. She loved taking long walks every morning. But over time, she noticed something strange. Whenever a friend called during her walk, she'd slow down, then eventually stop walking altogether just to keep the conversation going. She thought it was normal aging. It wasn't. We added a few simple brain challenges into her daily routine. While walking, she'd count backward by 3s. Some days she'd name different fruits from A to Z. Other days she'd recall grocery items or family birthdays. Nothing complicated, just enough to gently challenge her brain while her body stayed in motion. After a couple of months, she noticed something remarkable. She could walk, talk, and think clearly at the same time again. Even better, she felt more confident driving, shopping, and keeping up with conversations in busy places. That's because she wasn't just exercising her body. She was strengthening the communication between different parts of her brain. You can start doing this today. Take a walk while talking with a friend. Listen to an audiobook and summarize what you heard afterward. Count backward. Spell simple words backward. Or practice remembering a short shopping list while walking around the neighborhood. Little challenges like these help keep your brain active. And don't underestimate the power of healthy nutrition. Foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, sardines, walnuts, and flax seeds help support healthy brain function. Quality sleep matters too. Your brain builds and strengthens these neural connections while you sleep, so protecting your sleep is just as important as protecting your memory. Remember, healthy aging isn't only about having strong muscles. It's about keeping your body and your brain working together, just like they've done your entire life. Now let's move on to number 4. This next ability has a surprisingly strong connection to protecting both your eyesight and your long-term brain health. Now let's move on to number 4. Here's something most people don't expect. Your eyesight can actually tell us a lot about how well your brain is aging. I'm not talking about needing reading glasses. That's completely normal. What I'm talking about is the overall health of your eyes. Can you comfortably read regular-sized print? Can you recognize faces across the room? Can you drive at night without feeling like every headlight is blinding you? Those little changes matter more than most people realize. Research has shown that older adults with untreated vision problems are much more likely to experience memory loss and cognitive decline over time. Why? Because your eyes are actually part of your nervous system. Everything you see has to travel from your eyes to your brain, where it's processed in just a fraction of a second. If that visual information becomes weaker, your brain has to work much harder just to understand the world around you. Think about it this way. Imagine trying to watch your favorite movie through a foggy window. Eventually, your brain gets tired from constantly trying to fill in the missing details. That's exactly what can happen when vision slowly declines. As we get older, the lenses inside our eyes naturally become less flexible. Our pupils don't adjust to light as quickly. Colors become less vibrant. Night vision becomes weaker. And if inflammation builds up over time, the risk of eye diseases increases as well. I remember one patient, Susan. She was 75 years old. She kept telling her family that she was becoming forgetful. She thought something was seriously wrong with her memory. But during her visit, we discovered she'd been avoiding her eye exams for years. After updating her prescription and treating her early cataracts, something amazing happened. She started reading books again. She felt more confident driving during the day. And even her family noticed she seemed more engaged in conversations. Sometimes, the brain isn't slowing down as much as we think. Sometimes, it's simply not getting clear information from the eyes. That's why I always encourage my patients to schedule a complete eye exam every year. Even if you think your vision hasn't changed. Many eye conditions develop slowly, without obvious symptoms in the beginning. Nutrition matters too. Dark leafy greens like spinach and kale are packed with nutrients that help protect your eyes. Eggs are another excellent choice. Colorful vegetables, orange peppers, corn, and foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids can also support long-term eye health. And here's one more habit that often gets overlooked. If you spend hours looking at a phone, tablet, or computer screen, give your eyes regular breaks. Every 20 minutes, look at something about 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. It's a simple habit, but it helps reduce eye strain throughout the day. Remember, healthy vision isn't just about seeing clearly. It's about helping your brain stay sharp, active, and connected to the world around you. Now let's move on to number 3. This next ability is one of the strongest signs that your memory is still working exactly the way it should. Now let's move on to number 3. This one has nothing to do with how strong your muscles are. It's all about your memory. Let me ask you something. If someone asks you to pick up for items at the grocery store, can you still remember them 30 minutes later without looking at your phone or writing them down? If you can, that's a great sign. Because this kind of memory depends on one of the most important parts of your brain, the hippocampus. Think of the hippocampus as your brain's personal filing cabinet. Every conversation, every new name, every appointment, every memory passes through this area before it gets stored. As we get older, the hippocampus naturally becomes more vulnerable. But here's something many people don't realize. Memory isn't just something you're born with. It's something you continue to build throughout your life. Just like your muscles, your memory gets stronger when you use it. I remember one of my patients, George. He was 77 years old. He kept saying, "Doc, my memory just isn't what it used to be." He wasn't forgetting family members or getting lost. He simply struggled to remember small, everyday things. So instead of telling him to accept it as part of aging, we gave his brain a daily workout. Nothing complicated. Each morning, he memorized a short grocery list. In the afternoon, he tried recalling it without looking. He also started reading for 20 minutes every evening, learning a few new words each week, and challenging himself with simple crossword puzzles. 3 months later, he smiled and said, "I'm remembering birthdays again, and I don't have sticky notes all over the house anymore." That's the amazing thing about the brain. It loves being challenged. Every time you learn something new, you're building fresh connections between brain cells. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. In simple terms, your brain is constantly rewiring itself. And it keeps doing that well into your 70 seconds, 80 seconds, and beyond. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people stopping their learning after retirement. They stop reading. They stop trying new hobbies. They stop challenging themselves. The brain begins following the path of least resistance. But the opposite is also true. The more curiosity you have, the healthier your brain becomes. So here's something I'd love for you to try this week. Memorize for grocery items before leaving the house. Learn the name of a new flower, a new bird, or even a few words in another language. Call an old friend without checking your contact list. Read one chapter of a book and tell someone what you learned. Small challenges like these keep your memory circuits active. Physical activity helps too. Regular walking increases blood flow to the brain, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to the very areas responsible for learning and memory. And don't overlook sleep. Every night while you're sleeping, your brain organizes the memories you created during the day. Poor sleep makes it much harder to remember new information. Healthy sleep, healthy movement, healthy nutrition, and lifelong learning. Those four habits work together to protect your memory far better than most people realize. Remember, growing older doesn't automatically mean becoming forgetful. Your brain is designed to keep learning for the rest of your life. You just have to keep giving it a reason to learn. Now let's move on to number 2. And honestly, this is the ability that surprises almost everyone because it has nothing to do with strength or memory. Yet it may be one of the biggest predictors of living a longer, happier life. Now let's move on to number 2. This may be the most overlooked sign of healthy aging. And honestly, it has nothing to do with your muscles, nothing to do with your balance, and nothing to do with your blood pressure. It starts with one simple question. When you wake up in the morning, is there something you're genuinely excited about? Maybe it's seeing your grandkids, meeting a friend for coffee, working in the garden, planning your next vacation, or simply trying a new recipe. If the answer is yes, your brain is doing something remarkable. Researchers have discovered that people who continue looking forward to the future tend to stay mentally sharper, physically healthier, and emotionally stronger as they age. Why? Because anticipation activates powerful motivation centers inside the brain. Every time you get excited about something coming up, your brain releases dopamine. Think of dopamine as your brain's motivation fuel. It helps you stay curious, focused, energetic, and engaged with life. But when people stop looking forward to anything, those same brain circuits begin slowing down. Life starts feeling repetitive. Days blend together. Energy fades. Motivation disappears. And over time, that loss of excitement can affect both physical and cognitive health. I remember one patient, Richard. He was 80 years old. After losing his wife, he slowly stopped doing the things he loved. He stayed home, watched television all day, rarely answered phone calls. His family thought he was simply getting old. But what he had really lost was a reason to look ahead. So he started small. Every Tuesday, he met a neighbor for breakfast. On Thursdays, he volunteered at the local library. On weekends, he took his granddaughter fishing. None of those activities were physically demanding, but they gave him something priceless. A reason to wake up excited again. 6 months later, his mood had completely changed. He was smiling more, walking more, sleeping better. Even his memory seemed noticeably sharper. That's because purpose is powerful medicine. In fact, research has shown that older adults who maintain a strong sense of purpose are significantly less likely to experience cognitive decline and often live longer, healthier lives. Your brain wasn't designed just to remember the past. It was designed to look forward to the future. So here's my challenge for you. Before this week ends, put one event on your calendar that makes you smile. It doesn't have to cost money. Call an old friend. Visit a park. Learn something you've always been curious about. Take your grandchild out for ice cream. Join a walking group. Plant flowers. Read a new book. Start a puzzle. Anything that gives tomorrow a little more meaning than today. Because every time you give yourself something to anticipate, you're giving your brain another reason to stay active. And never underestimate the importance of staying connected with people. Conversation, laughter, shared experiences, those things nourish the brain just as much as healthy food nourishes the body. Remember, growing older doesn't mean your best days are behind you. Sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is simply give yourself something wonderful to look forward to. Now let's move on to the final ability, number 1. And in my opinion, this is the single most important predictor of healthy aging because every other ability we've talked about depends on it. Now we've reached number 1. And if you ask me, this is the foundation for everything we've talked about today. Balance, memory, strength, energy, even your mood. None of them perform at their best without quality sleep. Here's something many people don't realize. Sleep isn't just your body shutting down for the night. It's when your body goes to work. While you're sleeping, your brain clears out waste products that build up during the day. Your muscles repair themselves. Your immune system resets. Your hormones rebalance. And your memories become stronger. Think of sleep as your body's overnight repair crew. Every single night, it's fixing tiny problems before they become bigger ones. But after age 60, getting deep, restorative sleep naturally becomes more difficult. Many people fall asleep just fine, only to wake up feeling exhausted the next morning. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. One of my patients, Patricia, was 72 years old. She told me she hadn't slept through the night in almost for years. She woke up tired. She struggled to find the right words during conversations. She felt unsteady when walking, and she thought getting older simply meant feeling exhausted all the time. But after taking a closer look, we realized her sleep habits were working against her. So we made a few simple changes. She started waking up at the same time every morning. She spent a few minutes outside in natural sunlight after breakfast. She kept her bedroom cool, stopped drinking alcohol before bed, and created a relaxing bedtime routine instead of watching television late into the night. Within 2 months, everything began changing. She was sleeping nearly 7 uninterrupted hours. Her energy came back. She felt steadier on her feet. Even her family noticed she seemed happier and more alert. That's the power of quality sleep. It affects almost every system in your body. If you want better sleep, start with the basics. Try to wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Get outside for some morning sunlight. Keep your bedroom cool, quiet, and dark. Avoid heavy meals, too much caffeine, and alcohol close to bedtime. Put your phone away at least an hour before you go to sleep. Give your brain a chance to slow down. A simple book, soft music, or quiet stretching can help your body prepare for rest. Remember, good sleep isn't a luxury. It's one of the most powerful health habits you have. And here's something I hope you'll remember long after this video ends. Healthy aging isn't about trying to stay young forever. It's about protecting the abilities that allow you to keep living life on your own terms. If you can get up from the floor, keep your balance, walk with confidence, think clearly, remember the important moments, look forward to tomorrow, and wake up feeling refreshed, you're giving yourself something truly priceless. More independence, more confidence, more quality years with the people you love. So let me ask you one final question. Out of these 8 abilities, which one do you want to improve first? Tell me down in the comments. I read every single one, and I genuinely love to hear your story. If today's video helped you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to Trusted Health Tips for more science-backed health advice designed to help you stay active, independent, and healthy for years to come. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.